In previous videos, we've looked at methods to make three-dimensional structures other than extrusion, such as revolve and shell. Today we're going to look at Loft to do that. And Loft will frequently use some awesome tools which are called the origin tools, and I'll explain those as we go. So we're going to focus on the Loft command, and then we'll learn about these tools and also construction planes, very important as well. I'm going to make a part and make a sketch on the XY axis. So here we are. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to come up to the polygon tool and let's make that a three-dimensional polygon, and I am going to just make a triangle here. I don't really care how big it is, but just for reference, the total height in that direction is, let's keep that at 1. And there you have it. So I have a lot of unconstrained things there. Let me show you one other thing. So we haven't talked about it much yet, but there are geometric constraints up here. And this one right here is called the horizontal constraint. So if I click on it and click on a line, it'll make it horizontal. Pretty nifty, huh? So now it's fully constrained and I have this triangle here. Okay, so I'm going to finish the sketch. And then what? Well, to use the Loft command, I'm going to have to do something that I've told you guys not to do, and that is to have more than one sketch visible in the browser at any one time. The Loft tool requires 2 sketches, so we're going to have 2 sketches. Let me first rename the sketch as triangle. That was our sketch 1. Okay, now what I want to do is the following. Let me go back in and go into the sketch itself. Of course, we know that when we are in sketch mode, we have a sketch plane, which is here. Let me see if I can pull it out. And we basically got this big piece of graph paper sitting out in space, as you can see here. What we want to do now is we want to make another piece of graph paper that's 3 inches away from this piece of graph paper and coming out of the screen, so to speak. So if I rotate this 90 degrees this way, of course our piece of paper is very thin. I'm going to make another piece of paper 3 inches out here and make another sketch there, and you'll see where I'm going in a moment. So how do I make that plane out here on which I can sketch something? Well, the way to do that is as follows. Let's finish the sketch. When I make things that are near the origin or constrained to the origin, I can use tools that are in this folder called Origin, which you may not have noticed or paid much attention to so far. And what it does is it provides us a YZ plane, an XZ plane, a XY plane, X-axis, Y-axis, Z-axis, and a center point. So these are all construction features. So construction point, 3 construction lines, 3 construction planes. And so in order to put that additional plane out in space, I am going to right click on the XY plane and turn on visibility. So I've got this plane here that I can see. Now I'm going to do something that we haven't looked at before, but it's extremely important. We'll use it a lot. Come up here to this panel called the Work Features, and in the drop down there's different ways I can make a construction plane. This is a plane that I make in addition to the ones we've been using historically, and I can make as many as I want in any orientation. They can be anywhere basically. The one I'm going to use is make a construction plane offset from another plane. So if I click there and then click on that origin plane, you see that I have an arrow and I can pull out a construction plane there. Usually we will want to put a number in here rather than just pull it out. So I am going to put, let me go ahead and put 3 in there. So 3 inches away, I've got a construction plane a work plane, as it's frequently called, perhaps more often, out here, and now I can make a sketch on that. So let me do that. So I'm going to make a sketch. I'm going to click on the perimeter of this work plane, and now I can sketch on it. But you can see this image is pretty busy. So what I'm going to do to get kind of back to normal is right click on the XY plane and turn off its visibility. I'm going to go to my triangle sketch and right click, turn off its visibility temporarily, and now things are a little more normal. I do have this image of a plane where typically we haven't in the past, but that's okay. This is a plane that I can sketch on, and we can move it around or we can make it bigger. So as you can see, when you see this little image come up near my cursor, that means I can move it around. If I go past and then come back, I get the double arrow and I can make it bigger, and just like that I can make it bigger, and now I've got this area to work on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a circle here, and I am going to make it 1 inch in diameter, and I think that's all. It's fully constrained. So I'm going to finish that sketch, and I've got this circle on a plane sitting out in space. What does that mean? Okay, well, what we want to do now is turn back on our triangle sketch, sketch 1, and we really don't need this work plane to be visible anymore. So I've got a triangle and a circle here. Now this is kind of a contrived example, although this might be useful in some way, but what it's going to show is how the triangle morphs into a circle. So I'm going to loft is the word we're going to use the triangle into the circle. Let me show you how that looks. So I'm going to click Loft. Actually, I want to do one other thing first. So I renamed Sketch 1 Triangle, and let me rename Sketch 2 Circle. And now I'm going to hit Loft up here. It's on the Create panel. And it says click to add. So I'm going to click there, and it says select a sketch. You can select it out here. I like to select it in the browser. So I selected that sketch. Then it says click to add again. So I'm going to click there. It says select a sketch, and I'm going to select a circle. And what you see happen is that Inventor has morphed a triangle 2D sketch into a circle. So one can imagine there might be some reason to want to do this, and we'll find out there is, to take one two-dimensional figure and morph it into another one, and as it moves through space. So that is the Loft command. So to summarize then, what we used were the origin features, work features or construction features. We turned them on and off in terms of visibility to make it easy for us to work. We have 2 sketches, which I've since renamed Triangle, and Circle gets consumed here. Actually, they both do. I renamed them Triangle and Circle, but there were 2 sketches visible here, which normally we don't want to have. And finally, we went up and we had our first introduction to work features. These are work planes, construction planes. I think I'll start using the term work plane. And those are very useful to place a sketch anywhere in 3-dimensional space that we want. So that is the Loft command. Thanks for watching.